The next topic by my buddy Josh is bionics. So please give it up for him.
It was a dark day. Not the kind of dark when the moon is out, but behind dark clouds, or when the curtains are drawn. It was a dark day because a great man had suffered a great tragedy. Earlier that day, Jones stepped on a landmine. Earlier that day, Jones lost both of his legs. But with 2 prosthetic legs, he stands on the shoulders of giants. And he has a new normal. And prosthetics have come a long way from that prosthetic toe that we found in an Egyptian tomb so many years ago. I want to talk to you today about why I'm interested in this. I am a veteran, and I've seen many of my brothers come back scarred. But beyond that, too, this is technology that is changing the world around us. I want to explain why this technology is so important. And I want to talk about how prostheses are merging with our bodies more and more. So let's start with why. Now, this is Dr. Hugh Herb. He's an MIT researcher and a leading scientist governing prosthetics. He is also a double amputee. Professor Herb has spoken at length about why it's so important for us to move beyond the current techniques that are in place. You see, the average way a prosthetic has been removed, or a limb has been removed from the body, has not changed in the past 200 years. It actually hasn't changed since the Civil War. And I want to put that into perspective for you. It's about as old as Abraham Lincoln would be today. If we kept other things from that same time without moving forward, for example, doctors prescribing mercury, which, according to the World Health Organization, is one of the top 10 chemicals of major health concern. Would you trust your doctor prescribing mercury as a tonic today? What about a Harvard-trained doctor from Harvard Medical School? In the Civil War, they didn't even have a microscope. Would you trust a doctor from Harvard who's never even seen a cell, has no idea what blood looks like up close? Moving on and leaving the past in the past, I want to explain a little bit about prosthetics themselves. Now, we have here the normal 2-way street that signals travel. A signal starts in the brain, the idea to move, and it is sent to where it is moving, along a nervous signal, and it is electric in nature. The same is true in reverse. Any stimuli that's applied travels up into the brain. Once there's been an amputation, the 2-way street still exists. However, it's no longer active in the same way. These nerve endings are still live. And in a patient with an amputation, you can touch them, and that patient would feel it in their prosthetic limb or their missing limb. It would make a lot of sense to take those electronic signals and convert that into motion for a prosthetic. But the technology isn't there yet. Because of that, researchers from Dr. Todd Culkin's team figured out a way to innervate the nerves, to take the nerves from where they were and run them into new muscles. By running this nervous system into new muscles, they fundamentally changed the way that the body works, but they didn't change the way that the patients perceived it. In other words, when the patient thought open hand, this is what happened. Muscles on their chest contracted in turn. By no means was the patient trying to flex their chest. And I challenge anyone to flex their chest in a way like this. Those red zones indicate individual muscles flexing on the patient. The beauty in this is that now it's a measurable signal. Now we can convert palm open to motion. By attaching a series of electrodes to the patient's body, and by running those through to a microprocessor, we were able to determine real motion from the patient's individual gestures. From here, there was a different magical result, if you will. You see, the body works in amazing ways. And those hot spots displayed above me, all of those indicate different regions that responded to touch, to pressure, to pain, to cold. and the patients experience those sensations in their limb that they no longer possess. By touching a patient here, for example, in one of those red spots, you might incur onto them the sensation of someone touching their palm. Now, this science is amazing, and what it holds for the future is still unknown. But as we bring things to a close, I want to talk a little bit more about what it is that we've learned and where it is that we can still go. You see, we lay on the foundation of science that has been born hundreds of years ago. But we still have a wonderful world ahead of us. And by taking a look at how far we've come and how far we can still go, we can go back to Jones with a fresh understanding of what he's accomplished. But don't take it from me. Jones ran a marathon a day for 31 days with his 2 prosthetic legs. I want you to think about that. The things that hold you back in life. The things that you think are impossible. Because I can't do this, but Jones can. Thank you.